that's it. The blues is over. I ended it. That was pretty cool, because if I didn't know how to end the blues, it would just keep going and everybody would solo more, and it'd be quite a thing. So it's super important to know how to end a blues, and that is what today's lesson is all about. We've had a lot of blues videos in this series, and even another blues video on endings, but you know, there's so many different endings and so many variations that I felt like it deserved at least one more. So today's lesson, we are going to be ending a blues in A and learning about a couple different variations for that. So if you want to get tab, notation, things like that, head over to my Patreon page or my TrueFire channel. You can pick those up there. That's where they live. They're on the internet. You can also get tons of blues backing tracks and feels and insider tips by going to the 12 Bar Blues Survival Pack on my website, ryanmedora.com. So check those things out. But in the meantime, let's dig into this. Let's learn some blues endings. So today I am playing in the key of A, and I'm kind of, playing a slower shuffle. You can use this for a slow blues, really anything. A lot of different blues vocabulary words, meaning like endings and movements between chords, are adaptable to different feels. So this is one of those things where you can absolutely adapt it to different feels, but it's very commonly used in a slow blues or a shuffle. So what we're really doing is we're highlighting the last couple moments of a blues where ultimately we are going to play our 1 chord, we're going to play to our 5 chord somehow, and then we're going to resolve back at the 1. So this is really what you're going to do in that last bar or two of a 12 bar blues. So bars like 11 and 12 when you're ending it. And again, the most important thing is knowing what your target notes are, meaning like you're ultimately going to be starting the line on the 1 chord, playing to the 5 chord, and then returning back to the 1. And then all of the other things are things you can kind of play with in terms of variations. So in our previous blues lesson video, we talked about ascending to the 5 chord as part of our blues ending. And today we're going to descend, which is a little bit trickier, but also very useful and very commonly used. So if I'm in the key of A is my 1 chord, the E is my 5 chord, and A up here is our octave, also counts as a root note as a 1, and that's going to be pretty important as we build our line. So let's say we're at our blues and we're ending. Here's my 5 chord, my 4 chord. I'm going to play my 1, and then I'm going to play flat 7, 6, flat 6, and then 5, and that's my descending movement to the 5. Root, flat 7th, 6, flat 6, 5. Now, I like to play it this way, where I'm playing the root note with my pinky. I'm using my middle finger to play the flat 7th. In this situation, I'm going from A to G, G flat, F, and then E. And you can see that I kind of switch positions here a little bit to catch the F with my pinky. And then I can use my 3rd finger, or I can slide my pinky down. And I'm going to give it those 2 attacks, so typically if we're playing like a slow blues or a shuffle, we want to give it that like swung 8th note feel or a shuffled 8th note feel. And that's what we want to do. There's another way you can play this too, because since we're moving chromatically, you can just stay on 1 string and move all the way down. So you can play your root note, then you can go to the flat 7th and go down chromatically like so. You can see I'm using my 4-fret span, and I'm able to play my root note or my octave. Here's my flat 7. I can move my pinky there and then just go right down, way down to the E. And that's a great way to do it. Depending upon the key, depending upon how you're feeling that day, you can choose to do it however you wish. It just depends. But you've got options, and that's what the most important thing is when you're learning about your fretboard. So now that that's how we go to our 5 chord, we need to return to our 1 somehow. And one really great way to do this is by approaching it from a whole step above and moving down chromatically. So if my root note is A, I'm going to go a whole step above, which is B, or the 2, and I'm going to go down chromatically, kind of going 2, flat 2, 1. So this line, we're going to start on the 1, we're going to walk it down to the 5, and then we're going to walk it down to the 1. So we have 2 moments of descending motion. 1, going down to the 5, and then 2, flat 2, 1. There it is. Variation number 1. You can also approach the 1 from a whole step below and go chromatically like that. So in this situation, I can use that same beginning motion of descending to the 5. And then I can go G, G sharp, A, or flat 7, regular 7, 1. And that's a great move too. Sounds like a blues. And for added fun, because we are in the key of A and we want to get to our 5, which is our E, we can actually play this same descending motion lower, meaning we can get our A here, we can find our flat 7, the G, walk it down. Magically, I've arrived at a low E, my 5 chord, and then I can walk it up that way. So this is a great thing that you can do, not necessarily in every key, but definitely in the key of A, because we do have a lower 5 chord, a lower E in this case. And then again, you can do your different variations by either approaching the root note to flat 2, 1, or flat 7, major 7, back to the 1. So these are just a couple things that you can do, but the important thing again is that you're starting on your root note, you are arriving at your 5 via this descending motion, and then you are working your way back to the 1. So as you're playing a blues, just know that a lot of these variations will just happen on the fly. So the more you know and the more you kind of recognize on the spot, the better you're going to be at fitting into a band, the better you're going to be at figuring out songs and trying to hear what they do on recordings. Another variation is that sometimes they do this motion down and then they'll just play like that. So instead of going 2, flat 2, 1, they'll just start on the flat 2 or the sharp 1 and just do that little half step motion. And sometimes they'll even hang out here for a really long time and then resolve to the 1. So again, knowing all these different things will make learning songs and fitting in with the band a lot easier. So if you want to get tab or notation for this, please head over to my Patreon page or my TrueFire channel, and then check out the 12-Bar Blues Survival Guide on my website, ryanmedora.com, for plenty of backing tracks, different feels, things like that. And you can apply a lot of these endings to those tunes as well. So happy practicing, everybody. Keep it groovy. Have a great day, and end that 12-bar blues. Take care.